Look at the beginning of verse 4 as Paul sets up a short but very loaded point. I'm going to read the verse, Ephesians 6:4. It says, "Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord." So if you read back in Ephesians, Paul does this elsewhere where he has an argumentation style. Ephesians 5:18, where he says, "Do not get drunk with wine, but be filled with the Spirit." And he uses this, it's a thing he does to discourage something and encourage something at the same time. Here it is again, "Fathers, don't provoke, rather build up." Well, what does provoke mean? Provoke means to make someone angry, to irritate, to be a source of constant frustration, to poke at and poke at and poke at until you get a reaction. And I want you to know this applies to mothers as well, but I think Paul specifically in verse 4 directed it at fathers because first of all, men are to be the leaders of the home, charged with the overall overseeing of discipline. But I also think that this can be a struggle for men, perhaps more than women. I know men pretty well. I am one. And although men are not the same, I can tell you that men tend toward anger and provocation more than women do. Many men struggle with encouraging one another. The funny part is that's actually what we need from one another most times. Many men never learn how to manage their emotions, and so it's this kind of weird dance, this hot mess of random dominance, alpha male stuff mixed in with passive beta male stuff, frustration and moodiness and being all over the place. And on top of this, we know that men relate to one another by poking fun at each other. That's just the way we do. Challenging each other, competition, roughhousing, that's part of it, right? That doesn't mean it's bad. That's just what boys do. It's mostly normal, but when that gets twisted and that goes awry, it can become bullying and it can become provoking to anger. And yes, even fathers can do that to their own children. This can be a unique challenge even of fathers towards sons. We often see many dads, not all, many dads have the mindset to treat their girls like princesses, they walk all over them, and treat their sons like enemy combatants. This is particularly challenging because fathers are told to discipline their kids. But discipline, Paul says, has a thin line. There's a thin line with discipline that should not be crossed, which is to provoke and to discourage your kids. Parents, we have to walk a thin line in the home where there are expectations and boundaries. You must have those. Where obedience and honor are standards that are upheld. But at the same time, there is a point where you're provoking your kids too much, where you're hovering too much, where you're pushing and pointing out the flaw and making them, rubbing their nose in it and raising your voice a little too much. And you have to be careful, parents, not to break a child's spirit. Your kids shouldn't be counting the days. At least I don't want this to be how my house is. I don't want my kids counting the days until they turn 18 when they can blow this popsicle joint. That's not the way that I want my kids to feel about their home. Man, as soon as I turn 18, I'm getting out of this place. I don't want my kids to think that. Doesn't mean I want them to stay forever, but I don't want them to be counting as if it's this terrible place that I need to get out of. Kids need to be encouraged as much as they need to be disciplined. It can't be all correction. It has to be some encouragement. So don't just tell them what they did wrong. Tell them something they did right. Celebrate wins together as a family. I'll tell you one thing that I believe is a distinctive of a Christian house. What is the opposite of what Paul says is provoking anger? And that is encouragement and laughter in your home. Parents, ask this question. Is there joy in my house? Does the family have fun together? Are we laughing together? And I don't mean laughing at a movie while we're all facing forward and we laughed because it was funny. I mean we are laughing together. That's a powerful moment in the formation of a child's mind. It binds a family together to have those experiences. I was reading some statistics on the time we had with our kids this week, and one that I saw was It's an estimation that about 75% of the face-to-face interaction with your child over their lifetime will have been completed by their 12th birthday. Every summer, it's reminded, and parents get sad every time it comes out, you only get 18 summers with your kids before they grow up. There's only so many trips to the zoo where they're enamored with the animals. There's only so many times that trip to the children's museum will be awesome before it starts to turn lame and they grow up. There's only so many times a big scoop of ice cream or just an unnecessarily large banana split will make their eyes light up and they'll say, wow, when they see it. There's only so many trips that you can go camping before they grow up and want to go with their own family. So let me encourage you parents out there. Make sure you're having fun with your family now. Laugh now. Make memories now. And again, it's not just fun for this moment. It's teaching your kids that you love them and they will pass that along to their kids. Do things from time to time that break up the monotony of your rigid schedule. Be spontaneous. Surprise your kids with something. Go get ice cream together. Go play a yard game. Have a contest at home. Take the vacation and make it about fun, not frustration that you didn't hit the checkbox. Have fun. You know, good leadership holds standards, but at the same time fosters an environment of joy and fun. Laughter breaks down walls and barriers. I will tell you this. Part of my leadership strategy as a pastor is laughing with you. That's the way that I am. I want people who come to our church, and even those who work on our staff, to think, I have fun here. I like these people. I can laugh with these people. That is powerful stuff. We need that in our homes, moms and dads. So don't provoke your children to anger, but build them up, raise them up. The culture of your home should be obedience and honor, tempered with encouragement, joy, and laughter. Kids that loved their childhood will grow up excited to start a family because they want to relive all of those memories with their own kids. That is a cycle that we want to perpetuate in the 100-Year War.